Hände auf die Knie. Und dann kannst du wieder runterfassen. Und bei ihm. Die Handschuhe geben.
Yeah, so the factory is very impressive. So when I went there for the first time, I was really impressed, coming from Montmelo last year, which was a very small team and also very small facilities. Going to Sauber with, a great wind tunnel, great facilities, and, everything is there to be a very good team. Definitely there's a great spirit in the team. I think last year Sauber was underperforming from what they could do, what they could achieve. So I think in the team there's a spirit like everyone wants to push more and show better performance and do better. And that's great. That's the same spirit I have, and I think together we can do good things. I think like for everyone, the biggest challenge is the new cars. So new regulations, more downforce, new tires, wider tires, more grip, and there are so many things to learn, and I think that's the most important thing this year, to learn as quick as possible and to adapt as quick as possible. I think in terms of performance it's difficult to tell, because we have to see the first 2 or 3 races where we are in terms of performance, but definitely important is that we can improve during the season, that we can bring some good packages during the season with more performance and improve. And it's the same from my side. I have to improve and develop during the season, adapt myself, my driving style, and it's the same for the team. My personal goals are to reach the maximum performance which we have this year, and I think if at the end of the season I can say I did the best I could do, and or we can say we did the best job we could do, we can be happy, and that's important. So I was racing against Marcus last year for the first time, and of course we were racing each other because we were in 2 different teams with more or less the same performance. So on track he is very respectful, and I think it's also beside the track the same, and we have a good relationship so far, and I think we will have a good year together.
It's a fresh start for Sauber with new owners since second half of last year. So it's been a lot of new people coming into the team, and you can really feel the motivation within the team now going into this season. It's it's like a fresh start for everyone in Sauber, and we're all very excited. And I'm very excited to be part of this this fresh start, because I've been now this is my third year going into 2017 with together with Sauber, and it's been 2 quite tough years. So hopefully this year can be a year of turning in form, and hopefully we can be stronger together in 2017. It's a very big change, I would say, in the regulations. That means that the cars, I think, looks a lot better this year. They are wider tires, and a lot more aerodynamics on the car. So they're gonna go a lot faster in the corners, and lap times is gonna be a lot faster. So automatically that means that it's gonna be a lot tougher to drive them, because they're gonna be faster basically. So it's I think a lot more fun. So I'm looking forward to racing these cars, and I think also for the fans and everyone watching, it's gonna be more spectacular to watch, just because it's gonna be faster and more effort from us drivers. So I like the changes. Let's see how it works out in reality when the season kicks off. But from what I've seen so far, I think it's looking really, really good. It's been quite a tough winter for me. First of all, in December was a bit of time off, just to switch off the racing brain a bit for a couple of weeks after the long season we had in last year. But after that, it's been a very, very tough couple of months, 2.5, 3 months here, with a lot of training to prepare for this regulation change that we have in 2017. Everyone, including us, is expecting the cars to be a lot faster, and that's going to be more demanding for us drivers. So I've been working very hard together with Alex, my trainer, to make sure that I'm in top form physically, and I put on quite a few kilos of muscles. So we've been working really, really hard on that side over the winter to make sure that we get to the first race in Melbourne fully prepared, both mentally but also physically, for this new beast that we're gonna drive, that the new cars are. Us as a team, first of all, we want to improve and be stronger than we were last year, and we want to be back in the midfield and fight for points on a regular basis. And that automatically means that for me as a driver, my personal goals is to fight and score points as much as possible. And then, more specific goals than that, I have to wait a bit and see until we get into the season, so we see where we are and where we stand compared to our competitors. And that's sort of where we have to start from, and then we see as the season goes on. I think it's going to be a big development race, because it's a big regulation change going into this year. So everyone has done a lot of work over the winter, I'm sure. But even when the season starts, you need to really be on top of the development, because that's going to be a key, where people and teams find new areas where they can improve. You need to, as a team, drivers, engineers, everyone at the factory, we need to work really close together and make sure that all the developments that comes to the car is making sense and is in the right direction. So it's going to be a very important year in that way, and that's, for me as a driver, puts me on a lot of I wouldn't say pressure, but it's a lot of focus on me, that I make a good job, and I'm very good at feedbacking to my engineers and my guys in the factory, so they can make the updates in a most favorable way for me, so I can exploit it as much as possible. I don't know Pascal that well. I've met him obviously a few times last year and raced against him a bit last year when he was with Manor. And I knew from his CV, and from his career, that he's a very good driver with a very strong CV. Becoming the youngest ever DTM champion, I think is very impressive. And also having Mercedes that have backed him for a long time. So for me, it's a perfect teammate to have. It's a very good benchmark, and I think we can together, bring the best out of each other. So it's gonna be tough. It's always, special with teammates, but the aim from my side is that we can have a good relationship and work hard together as a team to make sure Sauber as a team we can make a good season. But then, of course, personally, I want to be the one ahead. It's always a lot of focus on the teammate battles, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna be the stronger of the two of us.
Well, it's a very nice feeling, and I think the team can be very proud of this achievement if you consider that how many teams or big names have entered Formula One in the last 25 or 30 years and have vanished again. And we, being located in Switzerland, working out of Switzerland since the beginning, are still around. Well, a lot has actually changed in Sauber and the Sauber group of companies, starting already at the middle of last year when we had a change of ownership. And for the first time, 100% owner in this way with Longbow Finance. And Longbow Finance got immediate stability into the team, starting, of course, with financial stability. But that's very important on how a team can work, that you then can start returning to a normal way within your companies, come back to your usual procedures, which of course takes time. But it very instantly gives a different kind of motivation to the people working here. You get attractive for far more people to come because we have been hiring additional staff. So you see how we step by step are coming back to where we actually belong. So that's just concerning Sauber. But at the same time, you're having other big changes around us and in the sport. To start with, we have new rules coming up this new season, very big change on the chassis side, and at the same time a much bigger overarching change, which are also new owners of the sport. I'm pretty confident that the target we have set, that we want to be again established in the midfield, will be achieved. Now, I know it's going to be a process which works step by step. It'll take its time till we are there, till we can be competitive in that span. But we're getting there. We've set out our plan like that. We have the opportunities for that. We have the means for that. So now it's actually for us to deliver this. We expect that they will be part of this vision and they will do everything they can, extract everything from the car, show their performance, that we can achieve this target of establishing ourselves again in the midfield. Well, it's a bit early at the moment to say that it's all harmonious. I certainly hope so, because we're just starting with both of them together. But what's very important is that they will be fair with each other and towards each other. They'll be respectful towards each other, and at the end of the day they have to understand that their interests have to be subordinated to the team's interests. It's very challenging and difficult because the environment we are working in has become far more challenging for a private team than a works team. You have to, on the one side, look at how the rules have been developing. Things have been getting more and more cost intensive every year. The kind of restrictions we had many years ago have all been softened or opened in some way or the other. So you again can start spending much more money than you could do maybe a couple of years ago. And there are no ways to control that, because those kind of control mechanisms, whatever they were worth, are just not there in place anymore. So the costs are going high. The rules are, of course, supporting that. Then you have to see the overall environment, the economic environment we work in. Things have got a bit better over the years, but we are nowhere close to the times maybe 10, 15 years ago, if you look at what kind of sponsorships you could generate at that time. So that's a very different world out there. But yet the costs are much higher than 10, 15 years ago. And then, of course, you also have to look at the distribution system in Formula One, because the funds are definitely not being distributed in a way which support private teams. It's actually the contrary. So you have to basically be fighting at all ends. It's Sauber's fighting spirit. We've, especially the last few years, have been written off totally, which is a bit unfair actually towards the team, because you're talking here about 2, maximum 3 years out of a 45-year history, or a 25-year history for that matter, in Formula One. So you cannot really reduce the team just to these years. And yet we did not give up. We didn't bow down to certain pressures. We didn't get ourselves influenced by all kind of forces maybe around us, which were not always in the interest of the team. And we fought for our existence. We never gave up, and that differentiates us, I think, from others. This is a very important factor for who we are and how we see ourselves, and it also reflects how we believe in what we are doing, because we have started from Hinwil more than 45 years ago. We have always had our base here, nowhere else, and this is the very base which also has been so attractive to other big partners to actually come here and not try to take this base somewhere else. So it really is part of our history, and for us it's also part of our future. Well, clearly we are a Swiss team. We have been founded as a Swiss company. We have, maybe apart from a few years, always driven under a Swiss license. So being Swiss is part of our corporate DNA. But at the same time, one also has to say that we are focused equally European, on a European way of things, and an international way, which has also shown that how big companies from an international level have also come and chosen us as their partners. So from that perspective, we are clearly Swiss, and the usual attributes you would give to a Swiss company are that you work with the precision, with the reliability of a Swiss clockwork, which is definitely valid for us, but I guess also for other competitors in the sport. What again differentiates us there is our relentlessness, in a way, the way we want to do things, we don't give up. And equally important to us is our independence, because we are independent from overarching brand strategies or other corporate strategies. Equally, there's no dependence to any other Formula One team. So we really can act for ourselves on our own within the Sauber group of companies. And I think all this together makes us also very attractive as a solid platform for partners.
Tu opinión nos interesa. Si tienes algo que decirnos, envíanos un mail. Esperamos tus sugerencias.